What on earth is happening with football money right now? You have rookie running backs that are making more than league all-stars. You have league all-stars that are making more guaranteed money than ever. And you have NIL athletes that are staying in college because they can make more money there than they could in professional sports. Oh, and those same NIL athletes, they're actually paying a higher tax rate than the pro superstars that I just mentioned. It's an absolutely wild landscape. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through that landscape, how we got there, and how I am helping these athlete families navigate this wild new world. Why should you listen to me? Well, I was a former professional athlete for 11 years, and for the past half decade, I've helped athletes, everybody from top NIL players to first-round picks to league all-stars, navigate all these wild money complexities that come with being a professional athlete. Now, to put this football landscape into a little bit more context, let me give you some color behind it. Jeremiah Love, the third overall pick in the draft, signed a guaranteed contract for $53 million. Hasn't played a single snap in the NFL. To make it even wilder, the guy who set the all-time single-season rushing record in a season, who's still arguably in his prime, Saquon Barkley, is making $17 million less in guaranteed money than Love, who has never played a snap. Why is this the case? Well, to understand this, you have to understand that the collective bargain agreement, the CBA, or what the NFL actually puts into place to help teams navigate both the draft and free agency and how players get paid, has a hard slotting system in place. The third overall pick in the draft, the amount of money they're getting just from the signing bonus perspective has nearly tripled in the last 15 years, from 2011 to 2026. In 2026, Love's signing bonus alone was $35 million. And this is a direct result of the CBA. Now, before you feel sorry for Saquon Barkley, who's getting $17 million less in guaranteed money than Jeremiah Love, just remember he's part of that same CBA system. That same CBA system is actually benefiting him too in this wild football landscape. Consider this chart. Just like the third overall pick in the draft, their signing bonus has tripled in the last 15 years, while the NFL salary cap has tripled along with it. And Barkley is taking advantage of it, making almost $20 million in a single season as a running back, something that would have been absolutely unheard of 15 years ago. And this, my friends, is a result of that ever-changing football landscape. Now consider those NIL players I was talking about. Consider that when NIL started, in 2021, there was about $900 million in this pool of NIL money that was getting spent on players. Well, that number today is over $2.5 billion and only rising. So when I say that the football money landscape has gotten absolutely wild, that's exactly what I mean. And what can we learn from this as players? I know for me, every single family that walks through our doors, we have the same conversations with them. And no matter which part of this system they're a part of, whether it's NIL, whether it's the draft, or whether it's free agency, when it comes to football money, I tell every family you need to follow this 5-part framework to make sure that you too can maximize your opportunity set. The first part of this is simply we have to understand the system that we are actually in. You see, with all these different moving parts, we know that the floor is always going to be shifting. It's going to look a lot different in 10 years than it looks like today. But the one thing I do know is you need to understand what the system looks like. Are you in that NIL system? Are you in that draft system? Are you in that free agent system? And ultimately, you need to slow down before we make any of these big decisions, before we talk about any planning or taxes or investments or any of the things that would actually help you with your money. You have to understand the system that you're in. You see, once you understand the system that you're in, the second thing you have to understand is that this is the business of you. I can remember talking to a player that came into my office last year. They were a newly drafted player. And the first thing I told them was, while you are now an employee of this team, the thing I want you to understand first and foremost is you are the business of you. You're an employee of your own business. And while sure, you're an employee of this team, you're going to be making a W-2 salary, you need to be thinking about everything that you're doing off the field with the same level of focus, with the same level of energy, and with the same level of drive as everything that you do on the field. I want to be really, really clear. This does not mean that you, as an NFL player, need to be managing everything that's happening off the field. No. That's why you're going to hire a really good team of people around you. But you do need to understand this. This is the business of you. So when we start talking about entities and S-Corps and LLCs and protecting yourself, all those things, those are off the field. And those are the business of you. Now, just when we realize that this is the business of you, pretty soon after that, your career is going to be coming to an end. What do I mean? Well, the third part of this framework is you have to understand the window of opportunity. Now, what do I mean by the window of opportunity? You know how I mentioned the crazy football landscape? Well, the only thing that might be crazier about the current football landscape is understanding this crazy fact. that the average NFL career lasts 3.3 years. So from the time that you sign your contract to the time that you finish your first full season in the NFL, you're about a third of the way through the average NFL career. So when I say that the window of opportunity is short, I really mean it. I remember a player coming into my office just 2 years ago. They had just finished a really long career. And the first thing that they said was, can't believe how fast that seemed like it went. And look, I get it. I can still remember the time that I got drafted as an 18-year-old in 2009, from the time that all of a sudden I was the 28-year-old that was in AAA that was now mentoring those young players. It felt like it went by like that. And that's the reality for every athlete out there. Professional athlete, the window of opportunity that we have to make the right decisions is going to fly by in an instant. And this is why it is so critical that we make the best decisions on the upfront. Because the financial mistakes and the financial moves that we make, it's not like stubbing our toe. It'd be like breaking our leg. There's no do-overs in this. How do we make sure that we're actually taking advantage of this window opportunity? Well, the fourth part of this framework is we're going to pay ourselves first. So when I tell our athletes, when they come in and I say, guess what? The first person that you get to pay is you. Usually they get pretty excited because we're thinking, okay, I know I want to buy the new car. I want to go on the cool vacation. And I need that new piece of jewelry, or maybe that watch. Well, when I say pay yourselves first, what that means is before you pay the car dealership, before you pay the jeweler, before you pay the travel agent, you're going to pay yourself. And what that means is for every $100 you make, I want you to think about it like this. We want to be paying ourselves at least 50 of those $100. So what that means is we're going to be paying ourselves and putting that money away for the future. So when you hear me talk about things like solo 401ks and Roth IRAs, all these great retirement accounts that can save you money in taxes, when I start talking about taxable brokerage accounts or real estate investing, all those things happen because you pay yourself first. You paid yourself before you bought the watch. You paid yourself before you bought the car, before you went on the vacation. Because at the end of the day, the earning window is short and we have to pay ourselves first. Which leads me to arguably the most important part of this entire framework, the fifth part, the oak tree. What do I mean by the oak tree? Consider this. As a professional athlete, you're going to have a million different people that are going to want your time, your attention, and your money. I assure you, you're going to have the next greatest idea just around the corner. It's going to be one phone call away, one email, one text away. And the way I want you to think about this is you have to figure out what is your oak tree. When I say oak tree, here's exactly what I mean. If you could pick one outcome that you wanted to create, what would it be? Now, I'll tell you about a conversation that I recently had with a player that we work with. And he said, my one outcome that I want to create is when I get done with my football career, I want to make sure that I have financial flexibility. So we dove a little bit deeper into that. What did he mean by financial flexibility? Well, in his situation, what he meant was, I want to make sure that I know I've made enough money that if I don't want to do that next job, or I want to take my time figuring out what the next thing is going to be, I have the money set aside to do that. And we said, okay, great. That's going to be your oak tree. In 12 months, when he came back to me and he said that he wanted to buy a second house, what I told him was, wow, that second house, absolutely beautiful, but it's not part of the oak tree. And if we plant that as another tree, what's going to happen is we're going to have this big forest of a bunch of trees, but they're all going to be really small. We're not going to have the one big oak tree. So the analogy I give players is we can have all these different branches that are coming off our tree, but we have to have the one outcome that we're trying to create, the one oak tree. And for most players that I work with, it's creating some level of financial flexibility when they get done. Here's the one thing that I do know. This money, this football landscape that we're talking about today, it's going to look a lot different in 10 years. The ground is always shifting. It's like a giant earthquake is happening year after year after year. But with that being said, we can still follow this 5-part framework to make sure that no matter what the football landscape is going to look like in the next 5 years, that we have a solid foundation in place, that we are maximizing our opportunity set, that we're understanding how short this window is, and that we're building towards the thing that matters the most to us. My goal, since I got done playing, is to help the next generation of athletes make smart money decisions. This page is a collective part of that. This video is a small piece of that. So if you're an athlete out there that's looking to get smarter with your money, make sure you follow along. If you're a family of an athlete and you have questions about these decisions, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Put them in the comments below. And as always, my goal is to help each and every one of you get smarter with your money. Until next time, my friends.